Hello and welcome to another edition of KLTV's Topical Magazine Weekly Wind-Up. Do you sometimes find yourself visiting the doctors more often than usual? Have you ever thought, is there any alternative way to this? What about, yes, alternative medicine? And just as quickly dismiss the idea because you remember that you've been told it's a load of old babble. If you've had such an experience, this week's programme may come as a pleasant surprise as we welcome Sue Salmon to the studio. Sue, thanks for coming in. I've deliberately not given your job title because I know enough to know I don't know enough about your profession. So how would you describe your work and what you do?
Thank you, Dave. I'm a medical herbalist. I use plants to treat people. You've mentioned that it's a load of babble, but we need to remember that a lot of our modern medicines actually are derived from plants, so that's very important to bear in mind. My aim is to look at each individual person who comes to see me, to get a really good idea of them and their health, and then to use plants to actually help them to be as well as they can be. And the plants I choose may vary from person to person, even if they've got the same diagnosis. It's about choosing the right plants for the individual at that point in their life and using those plants to help them gain the maximum wellness they can.
I have to say that many of us have tried this sort of treatment and find that the person who's delivering it is, shall we say, not as qualified as they purport to be, and that's putting it mildly. How can you tell a genuine practitioner from someone who's, completed an obscure one-day course somewhere and got a certificate of sorts?
Yeah, okay, that's a really good question and really important for the public to know that. I'll just give you a brief outline of my own training and then tell you about my professional qualifications. So my qualification is a Bachelor of Science degree in Herbal Medicine, and that enabled me to become a member of two main professional bodies for practicing herbalists, one of which is the National Institute of Medical Herbalists. So the members of the public who want to identify a practitioner need to look for the initials MNIMH, which stands for Member of the National Institute of Medical Herbalists, or for MCPP, which stands for Member of the College of Practitioners of Phytotherapy. And practitioners who have those initials will have undertaken a degree course or equivalent, a degree course, Bachelor of Science or equivalent, and will have studied anatomy and physiology. They will have studied a wide range of plants to a great depth. So they will have looked at traditional use of the plants as well as any modern scientific research, of which there is a growing body, to explain how those plants could be useful. They would also have learnt how to examine people, so I can listen to a chest or take a blood pressure. They would have also, and this is very important, have studied general medicine to a level as well, and to understand how plants might interact with modern medicines. That's really important. And also they would learn, and I have learned, how to know when it's time to refer somebody back to their doctor. That's really important.
So somebody makes an appointment with you.
Yes.
How does it work?
Well, they book an appointment. They would come and see me. The initial consultation is quite long and may take you by surprise. It's an hour and a half.
You surprise me when I visit my GP. I'm lucky if I get 10 minutes.
Well, we're very, very lucky with the amount of time we can give to someone. That is a real luxury, but it's to do with the profession I've chosen. Doctors are under a tremendous amount of pressure these days. They have a huge caseload. So I'm lucky that I have the luxury of an hour and a half for a first consultation and up to an hour for a second consultation. But that's really important because I need that thorough, in-depth case history to really know that person well. And I'll look at things like their symptoms, obviously. I'll look at their diet and lifestyle, their medical history, other aspects of health and well-being, so I get a really good idea of how they are, and also their family medical history, because there might be traits of ill health.
What you're doing is complementary to what GPs are doing, or is it a completely different way of healing?
I think there are aspects that are different, and I think I mentioned earlier on that I look at the whole person and help them to be as well as they can be. So it's about optimising how our body's working. That might be supporting the immune system or helping them deal with stress, or optimising digestive function, because it's a cornerstone of how well we are, what we're actually eating and how well we're digesting and absorbing it. So I'm helping in a lot of what might be seen as peripheral ways sometimes. But I would say it's not completely alternative, and it runs very nicely alongside. I like to think of it more as collaborative, really, that I'm working as an adjunct, that we're working together towards someone's wellness. And I know which herbs I can give alongside which medications a person's taking, so that there's no contraindications. So I see it as working together.
How do GPs react to you? Do some welcome you with open arms, or are some just a bit suspicious?
Very variable, very variable. Some are very welcoming and recognise that there's a lot that I can offer to their patients. It can be sometimes in alleviating the side effects of some medicines that they are having, or it can be helpful in some of the more chronic long-term conditions that maybe GPs or mainstream medicine finds difficult to deal with. So something like irritable bowel syndrome or chronic fatigue, or just someone who continually gets coughs and colds. And because I'm looking at the person's whole health and well-being, I can support aspects of their health that can really help with long-term wellness and improve chronic conditions.
Well, there's a lot to think about there, folks, isn't there? My thanks to Sue Salmon for a lot of good information, also to Kyle Warwick and the crew for making the programme possible, but most of all, thanks to you for choosing to watch Weekly Wind-Up on KLTV. This is Dave Hodgson reminding you to keep the needle to the thread and look after yourself. Bye-bye.
Thank you.